Good morning and a happy Wednesday. Welcome to today's episode of Morning Well. Three things that we will talk about is Disney's results, gaming companies get a boost, and USD resumes its slide lower. US stocks rose on Tuesday as investors held out cautious hope of progress in Washington over an aid package to support an economy roiled by the pandemic. Investors are monitoring negotiations among the Democratic leaders and White House officials on the new round of stimulus. Washington has been under pressure to iron out a deal since jobless supplements, which is the $600 a week of federal jobless supplement, expired July 31st. The Dow was up about 0.62%, the S&P was up 0.36%, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq was up about 0.35%. In the Asia region, Hong Kong's Hang Seng was up 2% yesterday, and Japan's Nikkei also was up 1.7%. Bond yields tick lower though. The yield on the 10-year Treasury set a new record low. It touched about 0.514%. So while there's some cautious optimism that has been shown in the equity market, the bond and the rate traders seem to be a lot more pessimistic about what the outcome of these negotiations are going to be in Washington. The dollar fell with Aussie pacing the highest gains among the G10. Asian equity futures are a tad lower. We'll touch upon some equity news and some earnings that we need to digest. Novavax tumbled in extended trading after early data on its experimental vaccine failed to live up to investor expectations following a 3,800% rally this year. Disney didn't provide its usual magic. Its streaming service grew 57.5 million subscribers, missing the 58.4 estimate. Its theme parks lost a staggering 1.96 billion. The company earned just under 8 cents a share, but that was far better than consensus, which was actually looking for a 63-cent loss. Gaming companies got a boost. Shares in Take-Two Interactive Software, the company behind the Grand Theft Auto and other gaming franchise, rose about 5.87% after it raised financial projections for the year on higher demand for video games during the pandemic. Activision Blizzard also was not far behind. It boosted its full-year EPS forecast after beating estimates as more people played games in lockdown, including the Call of Duty franchise's Warzone. Still, the CEO warned that the shaky economy could dent its pandemic-fueled boom. Activision Blizzard was up about 2%. Tesla's EV competitor Nikola sunk post-market after posting a wider-than-expected loss. Match Group's revenue beat. The EPS came in at 32 cents but missed the estimate of 45 cents. It's seeing a steady recovery from April is what the company quoted. Tinder's revenue rose 15% year on year, and the company gave a positive forecast for third quarter sales of about 600 million. Fox's fourth quarter sales and earnings also beat as advertising revenue fell on fewer local ads and sporting events. News viewership jumped. And the CEO did mention that the company expects to emerge from this pandemic more competitive. Beyond Meat sales surpassed the highest estimate, coming in at 113 million. Said its pivot to selling more products in stores instead of restaurants has paid off. Still, shares fell as margins compressed due to this shift. Argentina reached a deal with creditors to restructure the 65 billion of debt, setting the stage for its emergence from the third default in 20 years. Moving on to Forex, the US dollar resumed its slide on Tuesday in what may turn out to be a very short-lived recovery. Remember, we saw the dollar recover on Friday and Monday. There are no US economic reports on the calendar, but the 10-year yield, as I mentioned to you, set a new record low, which is also driving the dollar lower in the process. The US economy and labor market in particular will be in focus today with the non-manufacturing ISM and ADP scheduled for release. We know that the manufacturing activity improved in July, but virus cases were also on the rise, which led to shutdown of some business activities. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The employment component of the non-manufacturing ISM is also an important indicator for the non-farm payrolls. So if the service sector activity slows, which is what we would be able to see in the ISM non-manufacturing data that will come today, the dollar will accelerate its slide. But if the data is good, showing minimal slowdown in July, the dollar can recover on the hope of decent job growth. Remember, all this is towards the Friday's release of the non-farm payrolls. The best performing currency on Tuesday was the Australian dollar. The Reserve Bank of Australia had something for everyone. They left interest rates unchanged, announced plans to step back into the bond market if required, and predicted a bumpy and uneven recovery. So that's your update. Stay safe and healthy, everyone, and speak to you.